Good morning, it's June 28, 2025. Today is my sobriety anniversary. My name is Riley Ratcliffe. I also go by the Rooster, that's my nickname. I've been sober for 4 years today, and I've been working on a project. I went through 14 years of terrible suffering and trauma, and that came out of me in the form of poetry or songwriting. And I want to kind of go over my speaker one sheet. I want to make myself available to anybody that's suffering with what people want to call mental health issues, addiction, sobriety. Ultimately, my story comes out through poetry, and some of it's hard and dark, but I'm just going to read my speaker one sheet that I've created and put this out. If you know anybody that's suffering with any of these things, you might refer them to my page. I would ask you to please do that. So I'm a speaker and author, a survivor, and a storyteller of grace. My signature talk is In the Hush, A Reckoning in 5 Acts. It isn't just a talk, it's an experience based on a poetry collection and a personal testimony. I walk audiences through the sacred silence before resurrection, addiction, loss, redemption, and grace. It's told in 5 acts with a gripping preface and a hopeful epilogue. This talk helps audiences confront their own pain with honesty and invites them to believe that they are not too far gone. This talk is ideal for recovery communities, churches, mental health events, men's retreats, and anyone who's ever found themselves lost in the hush. My talk outline is between 45 and 60 minutes. The opening is the hush, the silence before the healing begins. Act 1 is the descent. Addiction begins with silence and stress. Act 2 is the reckoning. Divorce, job loss, collapse of identity. Act 3, the confrontation. Problems with the law, rock bottom, and the turning point. Act 4 is the surrender, using 12 steps and addiction resources, addiction and alcoholism resources, and learning to let go. Act 5 is the ascent, grace, restoration, and resurrection. Epilogue, a poem, a prayer, and an invitation to heal. I bring raw truth, humor, and deep compassion to every stage. My story is devastatingly honest and full of resurrection. Audiences are not just moved, but they have the potential to be changed. I speak the language of addiction, mental illness, faith, fatherhood, and forgiveness. And above all, I remind listeners that grace doesn't wait until you're ready. It meets you in the hush. There are those that know me that will say, he's a jerk, he's a creep. My goal in life is to be rigorously honest. And sometimes that is frowned upon by others. Rigorous honesty is overreaching. People would call it oversharing. But as long as I'm honest in everything that I do, is I make that my one singular goal, I can walk away knowing that I did my part. It doesn't mean I don't have things that I have to deal with afterwards. I certainly have things that I battle with each and every day. But I've found that it leads me down the pathway that's most productive for my life.